You mustn't let them cry. They'll feel so alone. It will teach them to stuff their emotions. They are too young to learn this. Sleep training will scar your baby for life. All of that is not true. Let's talk about why. Hi, Christy here with Mom's Fine Truth. And I know, it's a touchy topic. So let's dive right in. So in the arena of sleep training, this is what we tend to be told, that when our children are that young, we need to let them sleep when they want, where they want, and with whom they want. And not only is that bad enough, but then it usually, because we've missed such a prime teaching opportunity and we've let them get used to these standards, it usually bleeds into childhood as well, which again is not only difficult for us, but it's also unhealthy for them. And ultimately, that is one of the biggest reasons that is because no one in that situation is getting quality sleep. So even if they're sleeping off and on through the night, even if it seems like they are staying happier more, as far as deep sleep, where it's most healing and beneficial for growth, most restful and preparing them for the next day, it's just not happening, or at least not nearly as much. And to dive a little bit deeper into that and also how it affects mommy, I have a video that I made linked down below on the sleep-deprived mom. Now, being the nurturing moms that we are, I understand 150% the desire to not let your baby cry, especially not when you could just pick them up and make it all better. But we have to keep this in perspective and think about all the other things that we need to teach our children or help our children learn or do to our children for their own good, and how frustrating and even painful those things can be. So I'm thinking about a toddler learning to walk. They're going to fall down. They're going to cry. They're going to get frustrated and exasperated with the difficulty of it. But no one's questioning that it's still a very necessary step in their development. And one that if we're going to show them love and true support, we're going to let them do the hard things. But then even in things we have to do to our children for their good, for their health, for their benefit, it might be letting the doctor give them a shot. If that is something that's going to be best for their health, even though it's going to hurt, even though it's going to make them cry, even though they're asking and begging us not to let it happen, we're going to let it happen because we love them, because we want what's best for them. So I'm not saying everything that makes your child unhappy and cry is good for them. But what I'm saying is that should not be the measuring stick here. The fact that we don't like it when our children cry, and we have the opportunity in this situation to stop them from crying, does not necessarily mean that we should. Using that as a determination should be taken off the table, because it's just not logical at the end of the day. And ultimately, a lot of it also can go back to why they're crying. When they fall down while they're trying to walk, or they slip and get a bad scrape while they're trying to learn to climb a tree, or they are getting a shot at the doctor's office, that cry is from pain or fear. Some of the worst cries that our kids can have that can pull at our hearts. But we still see it as unfortunate but necessary part of learning and maturing, or of gaining health. The reason that your little one is crying, as long as you've done due diligence to set them up well for sleep training, the reason your little one is crying is essentially the same reason as your 7-year-old who really wants to go to Disney World with his buddies is whining because he wants it and you told him he can't have it. It's a whine. It's a, oh, Mom, I really want it. Which in a 7-year-old is a behavior that needs to be addressed. But in an infant, it's just them saying, my diaper's changed, my diaper area is not uncomfortable, I've been fed, I'm not hungry, I'm nice and warm but not too warm, I'm in a very relaxing and comforting atmosphere. But bottom line, I want Mom. I want my mom. Can I please have my mom? And as much as us moms really want to say yes, that's not always what's best for a child. So let's dive into more of the why, because I remember especially the first time I did sleep training, and I put my new little baby down, and she cried. And I knew she was comfortable. I knew she wasn't hungry. I knew all the things. But she wanted Mommy. And I wanted her. And why couldn't I have her? And that is the arrow that's often shot at our heartstrings. Is your child just wants you. Why would you not let them have you? Or your child is too young to be spoiled. Just snuggle them. Okay, so as clarification, all about the snuggles. Just at any other time of the day than when you're teaching the lesson of sleep to your child. Okay, point number 1. Point number 2 is I don't believe a baby can be spoiled either. And that's not what I'm implying here. I'm not saying you need to put them in their bed and leave them in their bed or they're going to get spoiled rotten. It's got nothing to do with it. Learning to sleep well is a skill. And it, just like walking, just like eating, just like riding a bike, just like all the things, it is a skill that your child needs to learn. Their bodies want to learn. Their bodies need to learn in order to grow well. Besides diet, a good night's sleep is literally the biggest determining factor in your child's lifelong health. So much development is happening in their sleep. So much development in their immune system, in their brains, in their IQ, in all of it. Again, the biggest prime time for that is while they're in deep sleep. And if they are not taught the skill of sleep, that's simply not going to happen. So although it sounds good to say your baby wants you, just give them you. That sounds so good to our mommy hearts. The cold hard truth is it is harming them when we do that. It is holding them back from learning a skill that is vital for them right now. That would be identical to saying, my 4-year-old just really wants Pop-Tarts all day. I should just give him Pop-Tarts all day. What a harmless request is that? All he wants is Pop-Tarts. I can so easily fulfill that. Okay. And yes, you'll be giving your child what they want. But what about giving your child what they need? Not only what they need now, but what they're going to wish you'd given them years down the line. When they still don't have good sleep habits, when their health is, when they didn't grow the way they should have, when they have immune deficiencies because there was not great development, our focus cannot just be on what our child wants. When what our child needs and what our child wants fit together, it's awesome. It's awesome. But that's not always the case, and we know that. And we need to take our blinders off in this area and be able to see, no matter how good it makes our mommy heart feel to be wanted, the reason that feels so good, to be so wanted by this little bundle of joy, is because we love this little bundle so, so much. And what we need to recognize is ultimately to truly show that love, we need to give them what they truly need. and what's truly best for them. And again, we're diving a lot into today on why this is important for the baby. But again, watch the video down below for the sleep-deprived mom to also see how vital this is for the mom. And for the mom to be able to turn around and give the baby what they truly need. And then also all the snuggles during the day. Because I'm still all about snuggles, y'all. Another important point to talk through is a lot of times people are not necessarily opposed to teaching the skill of sleeping. They just say postpone it. Well, one, still, you're missing a vital growth time, development time, that you're not going to be able to get back. But secondly, any of the difficulty, the angst, the pulling of heartstrings that's going to occur now, is just going to be multiplied tenfold when they get older, because right now you are teaching them sleep habits. The question is it good habits or bad habits? So right now you can be taking them from scratch. They don't have any habits, and you can be imparting the right habits, the healthy habits, the good growth habits that are going to be a part of them forever. Or you can impart negative sleep habits that are holding them back from truly growing the way they should, and are going to be continuing to have a detrimental effect the longer they're in place. So as they do get older and you're like, all right, now I should teach them the good sleeping habits. First, you're going to have to break all the bad habits before you can start them on the right track. So it's just going to get harder, so much harder, the longer you wait. There is so much more I feel like I could say on this topic. And before I leave, I do want to clarify as best I can that I did not give you a formula today, because after having 4 children and sleep training them all, I'll be the first to say every child is different, learns in different ways and at different paces. These core ideas, the fact that what I did talk to you about today is applicable to all children. There is no child who does their peak growth and immunity building and brain building while they're awake. It happens while they sleep. The main question is, how do we teach them to get that good sleep? And what that looks like is going to vary from child to child to a certain degree. And what I like to say is that first year of life, that first 12 months, is the training range. With one of my kids, I started sleep training, my first. I started sleep training her when she was 2 weeks old. And by 3 days in, she was sleep trained. had a regression at 4 months, lasted for less than 6 weeks, and then went right back to it. Never had any struggles with her sleep. So I thought, I've got the formula, man. It's going to work. It works in 3 days, no problem. Well, then I had child number 2, and then child number 3, and then child number 4. And it just blew it all out of the water. So no, not all children can learn at 2 weeks. Not all children can learn in 3 days. It comes more naturally to some than others. And I believe I call the first year the grace period. I believe by the end of the first year, all children should be sleep trained. And that means that they go to bed at the reasonable bedtime you set. They sleep through the night, unless there is sickness or nightmare or need to go to the restroom. And then they get out of bed at the reasonable hour that you've set. They sleep in their own bed, in their own space. And I believe that should be done by the time they turn 1. So that first year is a grace period. It is a grace period for the child, but also for the mom. So that sounds very vague, and I don't want to leave you there. What I would encourage you to do is to check out the other link down below, which is for the Overwhelmed Mommy Club. And what the Overwhelmed Mommy Club is it gives you access for $7 a month. It gives you access to a 10-module course where I just put everything, everything from here onto the course. And it's everything to turn an overwhelmed mommy into a peaceful and productive mommy. And so that includes teaching your children respect for authority. That includes organizing, decluttering your home, teaching your kids independent chores, working together as a team, automating all of the tasks in your home, not being overwhelmed or behind the to-do list anymore. But that also includes, as one of the foundational levels, everyone in the home getting a good night's sleep. And I do cover also that first year of life in much greater detail. Also, for any questions that you have as you're working through that course, anything I haven't hit on well enough, this also, the $7 a month also gives you access to a members only Facebook group where you can ask anything to all the other like-minded mothers on there, and also to me. And any of those questions I gather up, and then this also gives you access to a once a month Q&A and specialized training podcast. So once a month I release a podcast, a members only podcast that will answer any of the questions and concerns that I've seen on the Facebook group. And we'll also spend some time giving specialized training in an area that I've seen a lot of questions come up in. Just kind of dive in a little bit deeper on whatever topic y'all would prefer me to. So hopefully I've given you a great deal of motivation to go ahead and dive in and start teaching your child today to sleep well, to give them what they truly, truly need from you, what their bodies are asking for. Well, that's all I've got for today. But remember, I'm always right here if you need me. Bye.